This is beautiful. It looks like a delicious cake. I got the coral crystal colored glitter, being like sunset highlights. I got the goldenrod chunky glitter, and then I got the goldenrod fine glitter. I probably should have got regular gold, so you got like a two-tone of gold in there. But look at that. When I mix it all together, I need to mix plenty of this. I wish I had a bigger cake pan, but oh well. Now I'm going to mix it with epoxy resin and cover up this whole thing here. And actually, I think what I'll do is I'll just use my regular white sand to cover this. So you can see like I did there. That's just white sand mixed with epoxy resin. And this is the white sand as well. And then I'll put on this layer on top. Kind of like how I took a canister of what Hobby Lobby calls ceremony sand, which I found out is just white sand mixed with their light brown sand, which is that, and then mixed with some gold glitter. But since Hobby Lobby does not have ceremony sand anymore, I kind of have to make my own. I'm using like the white crystal glitter to put that iridescence on there. Then it's just going to be so beautiful. I put glitter in here. I need to get me a buffer and buff this out. And then once I put on a layer of epoxy resin and sand on there to match the elevation of this, keep in mind it's at least an inch tall for that resin. And then I gotta have the sand be just a little bit taller. I'm gonna buff everything. And then I'm going to pour a layer of resin, just 2 or 3 millimeter thick layer of resin. Well, what I got to do is tilt this thing back toward me, so then this area is thicker, so then it slopes and slants there. But I also got to tilt this area toward me whenever I pour resin there, so this slopes a little bit toward that way. And the same thing with that. And it's going to create kind of like a three-sided bowl. It's going to slope there, so that way any water splash still runs down here. And then it runs off the edge there into the drain channel that is on the existing sink of the Maguey Mexican Restaurant in Salem, Indiana. Oh man, this is taking forever. I started on this back in like early June. Well, yeah. June 21st, I think, is when I got this cut. So I've been working on it for about a month. But this epoxy resin takes 2 days to set up. And I've got some of this UV resin, which was really good. And it sets up fast. It hardens within about 60 seconds in full sunlight. But it is like, these 2 jugs here, that's $60 worth. So you choose how you want to use it. Yeah, I probably got a good gallon of resin inside of here. And I found out what makes a great casting mold is I just took some cardstock, paper. It's kind of like poster board that you like run it through a printer. And because it's rigid enough, or you can take index cards, they're rigid enough, or poster board, and just cut strips of it and then cover it with that, they call it resin tape. It's like a certain kind of plastic tape. And then you just put it all together in like a circular shape, whatever shape you want. And then use silicone to just tack it down. Because silicone won't stick to resin, and neither does that tape. I mean, it left a very clean, you can see how shiny that is, the clean results. I should have done that. This is a mistake. This is where I poured resin and thought I could block it with sand, but it got absorbed into the sand. And yeah, that's just not practical, but that wasted some epoxy resin. So these are things to be learned. Other things I could have done to make a barrier for this, like a mold, is just take some epoxy resin and mix it with sand and make like a, if I mix it enough sand, it kind of almost becomes like a putty. And then run it like a shape around there and just let it harden. And then a few days later, pour in epoxy resin. That would have made a good barrier, but I didn't know that at the time. It was just things you learn. But anyway, this is the July 17th, 2024 update. And hopefully you like this delicious looking glitter.